Hello again, everyone, and welcome to what is quite possibly the most intriguing and most infuriating circuit on the Midwest F1 League calendar, the Suzuka International Racing Course. Hotspot on the call tonight, and it'll be a full downpour in quali, but should get dry come race time in this 5.8-kilometer circuit. Features 18 corners and one lone DRS zone, and the only figure 8 configuration in Formula One. The biggest challenge for these Division 1 drivers today will be keeping it clean through the Sector 1 S's. It is such an important race tonight. I'll be taking you through quali as well, something that I don't typically do. As you know, the implications on the championship it may have tonight. Let's just go through here. Ryan Rod's at 965 points coming into tonight. Scornsy in second, 963. Race day in third, 960. So, during a time which I would usually be dancing, walking, rearranging furniture, this one could be absolutely mega for the drivers here tonight. And I mean that in all sincerity. This Division 1 grid keeps putting on spectacle after spectacle. And tonight this may be a very difficult one, and I tell you what, the full wets here on display in Suzuka. We may just get an opportunity to see somebody not named Ryan Rod Scornsy race day on pole. This one very much could be a qualifying session to look out for. And not only that, we're going to be seeing drivers on the race setups as well, I would say. It's tough to tell because obviously it's full wets at the moment, so you could set up your car for the full wets and make it a good qualifying session, get yourself up near the front, but then tank it during the race. Some of these drivers are going to be absolutely going balls to the wall here. Am I allowed to say that? Balls to the wall during this qualifying session on their race setups. It's going to be slippery. It's going to be very messy. I can tell you that much. Sure to be very exciting as well, it looks like. We have our friend Scavney, I want to say, is first out. He's making his way through the S's at the moment. Specifically Dunlop curve at the moment. And then down into Degner 1 and 2. I think those S's should prove to be very, very tricky to handle today. The Degners 2, I don't want to say easy corners, but you can definitely make up and also lose a lot of time here. This hairpin is going to be very tricky in this wet session. Got to make sure the back end of the car doesn't slip around. I believe out behind Scavney, we do have Dusty Lusky in the Ferrari. A lot of drivers on track at the moment. Well, I say that. It's actually about 50-50 split at the moment. So once again, the big story, GSR Ryan Rods ahead, leading the top 3 by a whole 5 points. Still a few rounds to go in this championship. Mind you, I don't want to say I don't know off the top of my head, but we do have, after today, Singapore, Spain, and Bahrain. Singapore will present very many challenges. Spain and Bahrain, I don't think you could have asked for 2 better tracks to end off this season. 2 circuits that, Bahrain is probably the most complete circuit on the Formula One calendar. Spain, little disappointing in real life when the esports come to it and the Midwest F1 comes to it. Undefeated, never lost. Scavney on his timed lap now as he heads down into these first couple of corners. It's a very tricky couple of corners to navigate as well. Very fast first corner. Sure to cause lots of problems in the race. Now going through the S's here. Very much varying your throttle inputs here, definitely varying through the gears as well. Scavney's going to take this one through 4th, and that's probably the safe bet as well until you get to that final one before this Dunlop curve. Oh, that was a big slide, and somehow he's managed to save it there. I tell you what, that was impressive car control. Very easy to have one get away from you then. Scavney going through Degner 1 and then eventually down into Degner 2 as well. Seems to have the exit nicely. That one might cause problems in the race, those 2 corners. Into the hairpin now. Definitely expect to see some overtakes here. It looks like he's going to take a wide line through the corner, carry a decent amount of speed. Dusty Lusky behind him has gone way closer to the apex than Scavney has. It'll be interesting to see which car is able to make the better time through 200R now. 200R up into the spoon curve. This is a very tricky corner to get correctly in the dry as well. The second portion of the spoon curve, if you hit that inside curb too much, you very well could go spinning around, and I tell you what, there's not much room on exit as well, as it looks like GSR Hoxid has retired, but I think he's got a qualifying ban as well. And now I believe that's Dace. That's gone off going through Degner 1, could be wrong. Scavney now into the final chicane, which on my map it says Casio Triangle. I don't know how accurate that is. But anyways, through the final corner now, down the straight. I would expect we're going to be seeing a time 145-ish. Yeah, 145.569. Next up behind him, as we said, was Dusty Lusky, who does go provisional pole by a whole 6, almost 7/10 of a second. GSR Ryan Rods then decided to outdo Dusty Lusky by a whole second, and currently has provisional pole. Next up, got the Alfa Romeo of EDA Gott Palmer. But my eyes at the moment, it's going to be on Scornsy. He's on a timed lap. He's exiting the hairpin now. Got one of the Red Bull drivers ahead of him, as I believe Lancey has just put his Haas third. Quite a good lap from Lancey, who, in all fairness, in all seriousness, did have a really solid result. Unfortunately, taken away from him last week at Austria. It wasn't a racing. Well, was it a racing? I didn't actually read the steward's finding regarding that. Can I go look through that as we see Scornsy now making his way to 130R? It's going to be a very tricky corner to handle here in the wet conditions. He's got lots of traffic ahead of him as well. Using that. Oh, and that it has to be said is a Mercedes that's gone off. Is it GSR Edwin? Yes, it is. He's missing the entirety of his front wing as well. And I tell you what, Scornsy, you wouldn't typically want to have drivers spitting off in front of you. And I tell you what, Scornsy does manage to put it forth. Was he perhaps put off from the Mercedes crashing ahead of him? Very much could be the case. Would not be surprised whatsoever. That one could have very seriously been nasty there. And yeah, Lancey did get into an incident with Hoxton. And that one kind of tanked Lancey's race there. Scornsy has put himself third. I believe we have the Red Bull of Impossible Bacon. Nope, it's actually Kate Thomas on an outlap now. He'll be starting his time. Red Bull, it had to be said, really did have a week to forget last time out. 15th and 19th, and I mean 15th was a pretty solid rebound for Kate Thomas considering how early on in the race he had spun the car around. I believe it was one of the opening laps as well. A very, very qualifying session he'd like to forget. We've got one driver in the pits. It is Edwin getting his front wing changed. Lancey's come in as well. We have one of the Alpines to the line next. I think it's Smith Pell. Let's go along. Can we see? It is Smith Pell. Coming out of the final corner now, almost 0.8 of a second faster through Sector 2 than his previous attempt. To the line, goes second, 144.868. One of only two drivers, including Dusty Lusky, to be within a second of GSR Ryan Rods' pole time now. Tell you what, it is looking right comfortable for the Mercedes driver going through this session. As now, I believe, Gott Palmer's on an outlap. Once again, let's take you more in-depth through the Division 1 driver standings. Ryan Rods, 965. As it stands now, he'll gain an extra point and put the gap to 6 back to race day. 965 in first is Ryan Rods. Scornsy second, 963. Race day third, 960. Unfortunately, as it was for Edwin, who I believe didn't really have the race he was hoping for last week. Is that right? Am I trying to say? Yeah, well, he finished 9th. But unfortunately, he does have a lot of work to do if he wants to consider himself still in this championship battle. He's at 901. So, perhaps if luck goes his way, and he does need a fair bit of luck, I'll say that myself, he could still find himself in it. You know, maybe notch together a couple good races. I've seen crazier things happen. And Lancey rounding out the top 5 there. As far as constructors is concerned, Mercedes, yeah, as we've mentioned time and time again, really running away with this championship as Ryan Rods secures another provisional pole time there. Scornsy's managed to go within a second and a half of Ryan Rods. Ryan Rods 143.365. Scornsy behind 1.4 seconds off the pace. Gott Palmer to the line. He's starting one now. So yeah, Mercedes leading the constructors 20.44 to McLaren's 15.99. Alfa Romeo's not that far behind, 15.19. Williams in fourth at 14.53. Aston Martin 14.48. Haas at 14.43. So it's a very good battle within the midfield in the constructor standings. Very much so that I think third and fourth place are still up for grabs here. Definitely possible. Red Bull 13.81, AlphaTauri 13.71, Ferrari 10.79, and Alpine at 10.19. So it looks like I believe we've had Nicky 64 retire from the session as well. I didn't see if he had crashed out or had gone in the pits. I'm assuming he's just gone in the pits, considering he's not had a time to his name. And Nikki 64, we saw last week, because I believe we have an Alfa Romeo off there. Is it Race Day? Yes, it is. Race Day has lost it going through Dunlop Curve. And I hate to say it, that was in a very unideal spot to be spun around in, as you had Edwin coming through at that moment in time. Edwin has gone purple sector 1, and all credit to him. That one could have gone very unideal very quickly, as Edwin now making his way into the hairpin corner. Our Edwin now making his way through 200R. I believe he does have Aero Racing Design yet to set a time. Villeneuve has invalidated somewhere. Matt Rossi, in his quest back into Division 1, I believe he's just actually put in a solid lap there, 0.4 of a second faster than his previous go. Currently finds himself 15th. He needs a little bit. It's a purple sector 2 for Edwin, going through 130R at the moment. Into the final chicane. If he handles it cleanly, he might have a go for pole here. It has to be said. Pole, and I think he's just had a little bit too much slipping on the throttle coming out of it. To the line goes Edwin. He does go third, 1:43.757. Moves within 0.02 of a second of race day 2016. Race day, mind you, very recently has put in a good lap and has clawed his way back to within half a second of GSR Ryan Rods, who, it has to be said, has been very untouchable so far this session. I would assume, is Race Day on another lap here? Let's go along with him. It certainly looks like he is. It looks like we've got Villeneuve who's just gone off through Dunlop. We go along with Edwin. Oh, where is his crash? Oh, God, that is right in the middle of the circuit. Goodness me. That, as Race Day slowing it down now, you can absolutely see that car stranded right in the middle of the circuit. And I'm afraid that is one of the more inconvenient places to lose a car that I've seen. I mean, I've seen some bad places to lose a car, but that's a blind corner, and you only really see that portion of the corner for maybe half a second to a second there. In the dry, it's probably even quicker than that. He's lucky nobody got collected in that one. That one could have been dangerous. And Race Day, we saw, according to my camera at least, we saw him make contact with the car. No wing damage. I mean, I don't know how the game's gonna do that one, but yeah. Anyways, Race Day now. I don't think he's gonna have one on here for pole. He's gone through sector 2. Yeah, he's about 0.75 of a second off the pace at the moment, so I think this one's gonna be the throwaway for Race Day. Perhaps he can start another one. Edwin has invalidated his previous attempt. Ryan Rod's making his way through Spoon Curve now. Both McLarens on time lapse. Scornsy at the moment 0.2 of a second faster. Did I see that correctly through sector 2? Actually, sector 2, almost half a second. So this will be putting him at least, I would say, 4th or 5th at the moment. He's not going to get within the top 3 unless he really pulls one out of the bag here. Here comes Scornsy, exiting turn 18 now. A little bit of a slip getting back on the throttle. You'd expect that in these conditions. To the line he goes. He does go 4th, 1:43.909. Almost 8.5 faster than his previous best. Does put himself 4th. And I tell you what, if you're rooting for that Mercedes team right now, you've got yourself a good little action here within the top 4. Ryan Rod's championship leader at the moment, on provisional pole, and for the most part has looked untouchable. Oh, and I believe has Smith Pell just done it once again. This is the second time we've seen. Oh my goodness! It just keeps getting worse and worse for drivers attempting to go through Dunlop. And Papa Bacon's going to find out really quick here. That is now the second time we've had a car stranded in the middle of the circuit going through Dunlop Curve. Aye. And I feel for Scornsy. I don't know if he was on a timed attempt there or not. I think he had just come off of one. Ryan Rod might be on one. I think he was able to actually get through it before he had gone up to the car of Smith Pell that was stranded. He currently does have purple sector 1. It is our provisional pole sitter at the moment, making his way into the hairpin at the moment. Let's see what kind of line he's taking through it, right up against the apex. Little slow, I'd say, on exits. Hard to tell. Well, actually, I mean, he was purple sector 1, so we'd have to assume that he's going for this. Could be wrong. Race Day 2016, he's on an outlap as well. Through Spoon Curve is Ryan Rods. And once again, mind you, we have our top 4 in the points. Within the top 4 at the moment. So, in a session where I had, I don't want to say I was hoping for a surprise, but I think a surprise definitely could have been on. The conditions were perfect for it. And I'm afraid it doesn't quite look like that's going to be the case. GSR Ryan Rods coming through the final chicane now. Race day's on an outlap. 3 minutes and 20 seconds left in the session. Ryan Rods out of turn 18. To the line he goes. He does go fastest once more. 1:43.115. Now puts over 0.6 of a second back to race day. Edwin now making his way through sector 3. And he's not on the timed lap. Scornsy in the pits. Matt Rosie on an outlap. Race day 2016 making his way through Spoon Curve. I think we're going to go along with him. Is that Lancey ahead of him? Yes, it is, but he hasn't validated, so that's less important, I'd have to say. Race day now. We'll be starting his time lap shortly. We're going to go along with him. I feel like this is going to be the lap that race day needs in order to get a fair shot at provisional pole here. The rain hasn't gotten any lighter. If any drivers were hoping for that, that's not the case. It stayed full wet throughout. And race day now on a timed lap, one that could potentially... Could he take provisional pole? Ryan Rods unchallenged. He has not lost the lead of provisional pole since he took it, becoming, I believe, one of the first 5 drivers over the line. He has kept it and then kept improving on it. So race day 2016, he'll need to really put the pedal to the metal here. And unfortunately, he does have traffic ahead. He's got both the Haas of Lancey and I believe that is also the Williams of Aero Racing Design as he now exits Dunlop in towards the Degner 1. He is 0.7 of a second faster through Sector 1, and it's purple as well. Perhaps is Ryan Rods not that untouchable. Into the hairpin now goes race day. We saw him before. He's really hitting the apex now, exiting the corner. I think he's actually managed pretty solid acceleration. Very few wiggling about there. Through 200R. Again, he has traffic ahead of him. As far as race day is concerned, he really, really does not want the traffic to interfere. Lancey's up next ahead. Lancey's on a time lap as well, considering his previous was invalidated. Exiting Spoon Curve now to the Sector 2 timing line momentarily. 1 minute to go in the session. Race day 2016 to the line. Currently 0.9 of a second faster. Ryan Rods also on a timed lap. He's making his way through Dunlop now. Race day 2016, final chicane. Exiting the corner. He's held it pretty well. Really hugging the inside of the circuit. You can see someone had hit the entry to the pit lane there. Race day 2016, 1:42.597. GSR Ryan Rods now has, and he has invalidated his final attempt. And at the drop of a hat, it very much looks at, and Edwin's just really clobbered the wall there going through Dunlop. That, I believe, now the 3rd time we've seen someone go off in that section. Scornsy, however, through the final chicane. Ryan Rods is out of it. I don't think he's going to be able to better the lap. Coming to the line now is Scornsy. I think he is now just starting one. Yes, he is. I believe this is the final lap attempt from Scornsy. Ryan Rods has invalidated. I don't think he's going to get back to the line in time. Race day has done everything he needed to do. The session has expired. Matt Rosie going through the S's now. Scornsy, all eyes on him. Next to the line, I believe we just had Scavney. No, it was Mitch Burns. He's gone 15th. Next up is his teammate Scavney. We'll have to see where he goes. GSR Edwin can't do anything about it. He's off the track. He's lost his front wing. Ryan Rods is invalidated either way. Scornsy, this is his attempt to perhaps steal provisional pole. Well, enough with the provisional steal pole away from race day 2016 and move himself within 1 point of GSR Ryan Rods for the lead of the championship. Race day at the moment will be within 4. Oh my goodness, this one going down to the wire. Scornsy now making his way through Spoon Curve. Currently sits 5th. Impossible Bacon, it's been a great session for him. Finds himself P6 at the moment after last week's, well, what would be the correct term to describe Red Bull's race last week? at Austria wasn't the ideal homecoming for them. Scornsy only 0.3 of a second faster through Sector 2 at the moment. Heading now into the final chicane. Race Day's done all he could do. Matt Rosie, I believe, actually going to be coming to the line here shortly. Let's check in with Matt Rosie. What has he got? He might be on here. Aero Racing Design, mind you, has gone third. And Scornsy, all he can manage is P5. Race Day on pole. Ryan Rods in second. Aero Racing Design in third. Matt Rosie fourth, outdoing his McLaren teammate of Scornsy. And Race Day now within 4 points of the championship lead. And by the way, he's still in third place. 4 points separate the top 3 drivers. Scornsy, and it has to be said here, one of the most talented drivers we've ever seen come through the Midwest F1 League. He is going to have one hell of a load of work to do, because he's got 4 very talented, very hungry drivers ahead of him, 2 of which main championship rivals, the other 2 drivers who are looking to make waves here in Division 1. Matt Rosie, he's come back into Division 1 very recently, looking to once again prove that he belongs in the Premier Division. Aero Racing Design at the moment currently finds himself 9th in the championship, very much within range to get up to 6th at best. I don't want to say at best, but I tell you what, it's quite a gap up to Lancey there in 5th. Many storylines going through this one. It's Race Day 2016 on pole for Alfa Romeo. Ryan Rods in second. Aero Racing Design third. Matt Rosie fourth. Scornsy fifth. Dace taking sixth. 7th is Edwin. 8th is Impossible Bacon. 9th, Dusty Lusky. 10th is Lancey. 11th, Shariah Coleslaw. 12th, Scavney. 13th is Kate Thomas. 14th, the Alpha of Gott Palmer. 15th is Smith Pell. 16th, Mitch Burns. 17th, Shelley the Turtle. Unfortunately for Hoxid, Nikki 64, and Villeneuve, they were not able to put a timed attempt in. Man, oh man, have we got a race in store here with the Division 1 grid. This one should be exciting. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the bug fixed, probably, hopefully. Good news for Race Day, he'll be in control of his car this time. Unfortunately, he will not be able to change his tire compounds. In fact, everybody's required to start on the same tire compounds as they took the initial start on. Of course, if... yeah, I've probably edited it out. We did have a lobby glitch. We've since restarted the lobby. Formation lap coming to you now. So, Race Day, at least this time, he'll be able to adjust his fuel load. Overall, at the end of the day, it is a much better outcome for him. Because honestly, he did earn a pole position. And for the game to not allow him back into the car, and then thankfully for him anyways, the game crashed. So, looks like we're going to get ourselves a good start here. Race Day 2016 on the mediums. I believe it will say 12 to 15 laps for the medium tires. Whenever the strategy bit pulls up, I believe that's what it is. I think my data here is outdated, considering the last time I did a cast for Suzuka in an F1 car, it was in the old game. So, yeah. Go ahead and assume. And it's been even longer than that, considering the last time I think we even had a weekly race at Suzuka, I was in it. It was full wet. So, I don't know. Yeah, we'll say 12 to 15 laps the goal here. Once again, Aero Racing Design on the off compound. I think this is... I think he's one of those drivers that does typically start on the off compound. Starting to surprise me less and less. I think he is typically one of the drivers that do. The other 3 on the hard tires include Mitch Burns, Shelley the Turtle, and Villeneuve at the back of the grid. Big story here is Scornsy. He's got 4 drivers in the way of, in between himself and winning this Grand Prix. And this is not exactly a track where you can make a lot of moves on. There's one DRS zone. It's going down the pit straight. I don't know why it doesn't exist from 14 to... through 130R. I think if they did have DRS, they would probably need to put in the chicane at 130R, and that would be kind of gross, so I don't really know. But either way, Scornsy has got himself one hell of a task here. Ryan Rods. Oh, okay, this is something I didn't foresee initially. Race Day 2016, how's the outside line going into the first corner? Ryan Rods, albeit he's starting further behind actually, he's in second place by a couple of meters, does have the inside. The inside, undoubtedly, is the preferred line going into this first corner. Race Day could very well get pushed to the outside of the track and lose a heap of positions here if perhaps Ryan Rods decides to get his elbows out or if something catastrophic happens behind. So many ways to take this one. Matt Rossi in fourth alongside Aero Racing Design. Man, this one is by far the most important Grand Prix of the season so far. We do now have lights coming on here, and we are off in Division 1. Race Day, unfortunately, did not have a good start at all, and Ryan Rods is really easily going to have that inside. Stop giving me shots of the halo! Scornsy's overtaken. At least Aero Racing Design has fallen behind. Scornsy down to the inside, trying to battle through his teammate there. It looks like Ryan Rods has very much gotten away. Man, I want to absolutely decapitate whoever decided to be the camera director there. All I got were shots of the driver's head from the halo facing backwards. Hoxton and Shariah Coleslaw battling it out there as they go through. The first part of the S is up through Dunlop Curve, and it looks as if Ryan Rods already has a decent gap out ahead. Oh, but I believe that is Shariah Coleslaw out behind there at Dunlop Curve, who has gone around, as well as Nikki 64 in the Alpine. So Race Day 2016 leading the grid. It looks like Aero Racing Design has not had the start he'd hoped for. He has fallen down all the way back to the 5th position. Scornsy's made it past his teammate, up into 3rd, but now has a 2nd. Back to Race Day 2016. And Race Day 2016 has 1.2 seconds. Back to Ryan Rods. Not an ideal start to the race for him. It looks like Dusty Lusky has managed to get around the Red Bull of Impossible Bacon. Bacon falling back down to 9th. Shariah Coleslaw has lost 8, so pretty much everybody except for Smith, Pell, Mitch, and of course Shariah and Nikki have gained spots outside the top 10. Within the top 10, very little moving about. Scornsy's up 2, Race Day, Aero Racing Design's down 2. Ryan Rods, of course, has taken the lead, which we expected having the inside line off the grid. So it has to be said there, that was the world's worst kept secret. Aero Racing Design, however, and it has to be said here, very much closing in on Matt Rossi ahead as they get to the first corner. Matt Rossi takes up most of the curb on the inside, and it looked like he was losing the car there for a second. He was able to hold on. Aero Racing Design at the moment, being very patiently. He knows he's on the off-compound tires. He knows his tires are going to be much colder and much less grip than the tires on track ahead of him, those being anyone within the top 4. However, it has to be said, managing a very good pace. Does he hold on to it? He does make a slight tap to the inside wall going through Dunlop. He just ran over the camera then. Does he have wing damage? No, he doesn't. So Aero Racing Design... Aero Racing Design might. Yeah, he might just need to say his prayers tonight because he's gotten very, very lucky as to not end up back in the pits for that one. That one was very close to being catastrophic for the Williams driver. Instead, he only falls down to 9th. Still within traffic as well, and it had to be said, but again, the hard tires are going to last quite a while on this track. I don't know. It didn't seem like a good choice to start on. In fact, I believe a couple of the other drivers that did start on the hards, well, actually, Mitch Burns and Smith Peller up a couple spots. It looks like has Lancey gotten around the inside of Aero Racing Design there, going through 130R. That's definitely the case. Aero Racing Design, I think, has just lost another spot back to Scavney. Aero Racing Design very much falling backwards and falling quite quickly as well, unfortunately for him. Meanwhile, Scornsy down to the inside on race day. Championship implications at play here, side by side between 2nd and 3rd in the championship for, well, 2nd and 3rd. And Scornsy has managed to get around race day, and he's done it quite brilliantly as well. Matt Rossi in pursuit. He's watching his teammates and his championship rival battle ahead. Who comes out on top? Scornsy, under still a lot of pressure from race day. Just because he's gotten around him doesn't mean race day's going to give up. And it definitely seems as if race day's still holding in. And meanwhile, Ryan Rods, all while this is happening, is only pulling out even further away from the rest of the top 5. He's got a 2.5 second lead already on Scornsy. You'd expect that with the cars battling back and forth. But still, impressive pace from Ryan Rods here, who at the moment in time looks like taking an early, well, I'd say becoming early favorites to many in the early goings here. Matt Rossi still within 0.4 of a second. Doesn't really look as if he'll be pressuring. It looks like GSR Hoxton and Kate Thomas are side by side, going through Spoon Curve now. Hoxton actually went up the inside going into the corner. That was a little bit of an odd place to make it happen, but he's done well. Has GSR Hoxton, who, mind you, faced a qualifying ban for having 7 license penalty points. Now currently finds himself P12. He's just gotten around the Red Bull of Kate Thomas. Matt Rossi here, he'll have DRS. Back to race day. Scornsey will have DRS, race day will have DRS to Scornsey. Dace behind. He does not have DRS back. What is with these stupid shots of the halo? Nobody wants to see that. Anyways, race day 2016, doing his best to try to keep on Scornsey. He doesn't need to panic yet. I think that's the big thing that race day needs to realize. He hasn't gotten a good start off the line. Let's remember that. Ryan Rods overtook him probably about 100 meters into the Grand Prix. But we expected that anyways. He's on the inside line of the circuit. He's lost another spot to Scornsey. He has just set purple sector 1. Let's go there. Ryan Rods and Scornsey ahead have not done that. So it looks like he's on pace. He's quite quick at the moment. But the important thing for race day, he doesn't need to panic. There's a lot of Grand Prix left. And I tell you what, if he doesn't panic, keeps his wits about him, he might come home with second place here. Unless Ryan Rods makes some sort of unbelievable mistake ahead. But he's already amassed nearly a 3-second lead, only through the 4th lap of the race. Looks like Edwin trying to hunt down Dace. Dace currently occupying 5th place. Edwin's going to have DRS. Dace is in a tough spot here. He's not got DRS to Matt Rossi ahead. Very much a sitting duck to the Mercedes driver behind. Heading into the final chicane now, it looks as if race day has edged very so closely to Scornsey there, but Scornsey's gotten a much better getaway at a turn 18. We do have a car off at Dunlop. It is Aero Racing Design, unfortunately for him. This has been a Grand Prix quickly to forget for the Williams driver, currently occupying, I believe, currently sitting 10th in the driver standings. Race day 2016, very much pressuring Scornsey now. It was about 5/10 of a second going through the final chicane. It was as close as 3.5 tenths, and that's about what it's staying to this point in time. Again, doesn't need to panic. Ryan Rods ahead. You have to not be worrying about him right now. Your main battle is Scornsey. This is the driver. I mean, of course, Ryan Rods is in this battle as well. Mind you, he's only got 4 points to gap back to race day, 3rd in the standings. But the point is, you have to really prioritize where you're at in the moment. You can't be thinking ahead. You can't be thinking behind either. That's a big problem I have, specifically racing F2, is I always get concerned. I think too far into the future and I lose focus. You know, if I'm on pace for a good race, I'm thinking to myself, hey, I'm going to have a podium here. And then I end up making a mistake, and same things retrospectively. If I have a bad start and I think about it too much, definitely be making more mistakes. It's how it is as a driver. Aero Racing Design has retired in the pits, unfortunately for him. Yeah, it's not been a very good day for him, who, by the way, was off to a great start as well. Was pulling out some massive pace on the hard tires, and then had his slipping about, and is unfortunately slipped even further down the order since then. Matt Rossi trying to pressure race day ahead. It looks like Scornsey starting to pull away from race day now. 8.5, almost 9/10 of a second. Matt Rossi down to within half a second. As Edwin and Dace, oh, that one, big incident then. Dace, I believe, had the inside. He got chopped in half by Edwin, or so it looked, and now falls way down the order. Bits of front wing on the circuit. And he's on the inside of the first corner now, waiting for his opportunity to get back on track. He's missing the right front end plate on his front wing. That one I have a feeling the stewards are going to have to look at again. He was side by side with Edwin going through the first corner, and it looks like, naturally, if you're the car on the bottom, man, it's tough to call without obviously being able to see it again in real time, as we have Villeneuve ahead, who's taking a trip into the barriers outside, and the safety car now on track. What is that? Villeneuve, in all fairness to him, he has crashed, but his debris is way off in the gravel trap on the outside of the circuit. Dace didn't have any damage on the racing line. I mean, he did have damage. There's bits of carbon fiber. It's off the track completely. Not even just off the racing line. It's past the curb. It's off the track, outside of track limits. And the safety car is out. And now, any gap that Ryan Rods had cemented to the to his championship rival behind him, Scornsy. It's all out the window now. Does Matt Rossi follow in his teammate? Yes, he does, and I think that was probably a mistake for Matt Rossi. He's going to get absolutely screwed here, because the double stack will be coming into play for McLaren. Not ideal, but it looks like the team are ready for it, at least. I think he's going to be losing a spot here. Perhaps, no, he actually doesn't. Unless did Shelley get out of ahead of him? Well, Shelley decided to stay out. Mind you, he started on the hard tires. So, interesting here. Ryan Rods now has a car ahead of him that will most definitely defend against Ryan Rods behind. Mind you, Shelley the Turtle, his hard tires are only 7 laps old. Scornsy will have his best opportunity yet to overtake Ryan Rods. Race day can get himself back in this. So much at stake and so many variables in play. Looks like the safety car is going to be out for a little while, probably at least another lap, so I'll step aside for the time being. You don't want to go anywhere. So the safety car making its way in this lap. I do want to point this out. EDA Gott Palmer has dropped to the rear of the field. The game accidentally put him onto softs. Instead he wanted the hard, so he's made 2 stops under the safety car. Not ideal to say the least. Shelley the Turtle has 3 championship contenders behind him and is leading the Grand Prix. How much of a disturbance to the force is Shelley the Turtle here? Back to Green Flag Racing. Race day 2016 in the Discord complaining he doesn't have any straight line speed. Scornsy now looking like he could possibly overtake Ryan Rods into the first corner, and he backs off of it before he has the opportunity. Probably the smart choice there. He didn't really have a clean look into the corner. Dusty Lusky down to the inside, I believe, as he had a spin. Kind of. Edwin's on the softs? What? That's a little odd. Well, Edwin's on the softs. That's, that. It looks like now Scornsy is going to have to recatch himself back up to Ryan Rods here, because Ryan Rods looks like he is really on the precipice of overtaking Shelley the Turtle here. And I tell you what, that one would be very detrimental to Scornsy and the rest behind, as once Ryan Rods gets in clean air, there's no catching him. We've seen that already. 5 laps into the Grand Prix, amassed a 3-second lead. And it looks like now, Shelley the Turtle getting off the circuit, but then falls right in between Scornsy and GSR Ryan Rods. So, Shelley the Turtle here has given up the lead, and rightfully so. He's kept himself out of the way of GSR Ryan Rods, but puts himself right in between the other 2 championship contenders. Oh, if you're Scornsy and Race Day, you gotta be fuming after that one. I'm sorry, but that's the type of thing. Oh my goodness, that one. And I mean, it's not Shelley the Turtle's fault. You can't go into the grass and lose even more spots. Scornsy's made his way down to the inside of Shelley the Turtle. It took him long enough. Shelley the Turtle, I think, should do the right thing and probably let Race Day by as well, but he's now losing even more time because Race Day, as I said, doesn't have any straight line speed according to him. Scornsy having his best opportunity here at Ryan Rods. He's had all Grand Prix so far. Within the slipstream, heading down into turn 1. He wants the outside. He's going to wait for Ryan Rods to go high. Does he tuck it down low? He's unable to. Ryan Rods has just simply got better traction coming off of the first corner. And it looks now, Shelley the Turtle has filed himself within line of the top 3 here. He's not given the spot to Race Day. And he's decided, no, I'm trying to hang on for a podium here. I've taken the off strategy. I'm going to stick with it. And I tell you what, it looks like Gott Palmer and Lancey battling it out there. Is Lancey taking a spin somewhere? I'm not entirely sure, because he's fallen back down to 19th now. That's unlike him. Uncharacteristic. Edwin on the softs. We'd have to assume we'll be having to stop here momentarily, probably within the next 5 laps or so. Really pressuring Matt Rossi. Matt Rossi pressuring Race Day. Race Day trying to pressure Shelley the Turtle, and all the while Shelley the Turtle has put the gap between the top 2 and the rest of the top 5, as it's a 1.5 seconds nearly, and Scornsy momentarily challenging for the lead. Once he has DRS, I think he might definitely be within play of trying to take the lead of the Grand Prix. Here comes Race Day. He's going to look down to the inside. Please don't make it side by side through 130R. That's exactly what he's going to look to do. Shelley the Turtle goes wide. Luckily for him, he was able to hold on to the car. Matt Rossi's going to tuck himself down to the outside. Look at that! What a dive from Edwin! He's gotten in there as well, and he'll get past Shelley the Turtle. How clean the move was, I'm not entirely sure. It was quite a lunge from the Mercedes driver on his soft tires. Goodness me, stainless steel balls from the second Mercedes. Looks like Scavney and Shelley the Turtle battling it out now as they go through the first corner. Looks like Scavney's gotten the better of the Aston Martin then. Mind you, Shelley the Turtle, not long ago, was in P4. He's dropped all the way back down to P9. And speaking of dropping back, it doesn't look like Scornsy's going to see the light of day with DRS after all. It's 9/10 of a second already. And it really looks as if he is falling behind even faster to the Mercedes ahead. Race Day has third, but he's not exactly catching the top two. Looks like behind we've got Mitch Burns battling with Smith Pell here. We've got Villeneuve falling down the order. Oh, that's a big spin there. Mitch Burns has gone right into the left rear tire of Smith Pell. Smith Pell looking the wrong way at the hairpin, and now we got a car off ahead again. Mitch Burns spinning in what I would think is sympathy there. Looks like now we've got Lancey and Gott Palmer side by side through the spoon curve, and it looks like Gott Palmer's taking a spin. God almighty. Where's my water? Why didn't I bring up any water? Lots of conundrums there on the 11th lap of the Grand Prix. Now it looks like GSR Edwin here trying to hunt down Matt Rossi. Ryan Ross has the fastest lap. Scornsy doesn't have DRS. Matt Rossi does, but it's going to be no match for the Mercedes on the soft tires as they go through turn one. Edwin's got that even before the corner. It looks like Hoxton and Shelley the Turtle battling it out here, and it looks like Hoxton has overtaken Shelley. That's another spot lost for the Aston Martin. Jesus Christ. Okay, anyways. Matt Rossi. And then 6/10 of a second of Edwin. And what I was going to do, I was in the process of trying to look and see what our championship standings would amount to here. Not entirely sure the point standings off the top of my head. So it's a 5-point difference between first and second, and a 3 points difference between second and third. So, do the math there. Ryan Rods, at this moment in time, if the result holds, will have a 7-point gap to Scornsy behind. In race day, I think we'll have a 7-point gap back to Scornsy, so the top three will then be spread out by 14 points instead of a measly 4 as it stands right now. Naturally, race day did get the extra point with being on pole. Don't forget fastest lap as well. Ryan Rod's sure to be picking up at least a point for the fastest lap. In fact, it's going to be his GSR Edwin that time, 132.370. And here goes Edwin down to the inside of Race Day. And Race Day's even falling further down the package. He's been overtaken by the Mercedes on the softs. Is this, I have to say, showing some great pace at the moment is GSR Edwin. But I think he's definitely made a mistake being on the softs. Lord almighty. Was it a good strategy call from Edwin? I'm not entirely sure. I would think it's not. But, stranger things have happened, that part is for sure. Perhaps is he counting on another safety car? That's definitely a possibility. Oh, Dusty Lusky's really messed up the braking zone there, going into the hairpin. Impossible Bacon might have a look down to the inside. He did have a look, temporarily at best. He wasn't able to make it happen, but Dusty Lusky now knows Bacon is there. Possible Bacon looking at the moment. Can we look at the positions gained? Up 1 spot since the start of the race. Dusty up 3, Scavney up 4, Hoxton up 9. So Hoxton on pace for driver of the day at the moment. Looks like Impossible Bacon within 2/10 of Dusty here. Dusty sure to be feeling the pressure from the Englishman behind him. Through the DRS they go now. It looks like Race Day might be having a move at Edwin ahead. We're actually going to go along with this one for the time being. Edwin does have DRS. Race Day was able to get within 2/10 of a second of the car ahead. Oh, Lord. It looks like Gott Palmer's just picked up 3 seconds for multiple warnings. Not ideal for him. Gott Palmer into the pits now. And he has retired. Race day 2016 within 0.4 of a second of Edwin ahead. We'd have to assume that the softs aren't going to be lasting much longer than what they are now. In fact, meanwhile, this bat... Oh! There goes Bacon! Thankfully, he was able to hold on to the car. He's taking a little momentary rest under the bridge. Very lucky he's not hit anything there. He's lost the car coming out of Degner 2. And the day that was temporarily going so well for Bacon, unfortunately, has all gone spinning away from him there. So that's the car of Gott Palmer. That was a little odd. He didn't retire on track. He retired in the pits, but the car's gone through the pits and is now on track exiting turn 3. And the safety car is out! What in the hell? Edwin's come in, Matt Rosie's come in. What in the... A car that retired in the pits. We saw him go into the pits. Okay, that's the main thing we have to realize. We saw him go into the pits. It said pit on his car. He retired. He was in the pits. The car came back out on track and caused the safety car. Yep. I tell you what. Sometimes it really is. I mean, I'm lost for words at how dumb that is, really. There's not very often where I legitimately don't have anything to say. This is one of those times where we've got 3 drivers within championship here. The game has done something inexplicably stupid 3 different times. We had the lobby restart to begin with, the first safety car for debris that wasn't even close to the circuit, and now the car that had retired in the pits had come back out on the track just for giggles. Then one off exiting turn 3. The car had already been disappeared from the track and the safety car came out. I don't know. Ryan Rods has every right to be fuming if he does end up losing this Grand Prix, because now, 2 different times in my opinion, that he's absolutely... 3, really. I mean, naturally, during the first race, Race Day had lost the car, couldn't get back in, and was fairly certain that Ryan Rods was going to overtake him going into the first corner, like he did in this lobby. Was fairly certain that was going to happen. The lobby crash would start it again. Ryan Rods, realistically, has had 3 different heaping loads of garbage thrown into him here, and if he loses this race, he has every reason to be as upset as he wants, really. Well, I feel I am about to get into another fit of coughing, so as the safety car decides to sort itself out, I'm going to step aside. With the safety car making its way in this lap, we're going to have 11 laps to go this next time by. Ryan Rods in the lead, Scornsy behind. I believe we've had some cars come in. Hoxton and Kate Thomas have stayed out. In fact, everyone within the top 6 has stayed out. Everyone behind them has come in for medium tires. Are those within the top 6 the sitting ducks now? It very well could be the case. Let's get back going here. Scornsy, 0.3 of a second away from Ryan Rods, and closing. Race Day, all he can do, unfortunately for him, is sit back behind and watch. His car not really on pace with those ahead of him. It has to be said. I hate to be completely blunt like that, but that's just what it seems at this moment in time. Edwin has taken the softs and come out scot-free. He currently sits 7th, and currently behind Shariah Coleslaw, who is the furthest back remaining driver on the hard tires. Edwin might have a case here for the top 5. Scornsy now outside temporarily of a second back to GSR Ryan Rods. As you can see, Ryan Rods once again pulling away as Edwin has gone down to the inside, going through the hairpin on Shariah Coleslaw. Matt Rosie in pursuit as well. Very close. Shariah goes off. Shariah's done. And another car DNF'd. And another safety car on track. And now, do Ryan Rods, Scornsy, and Race Day, do they decide to come in and put on the mediums? Do they bite the bullet? It's going to be up to Ryan Rods here. He's going to be at a disadvantage. In fact, everybody within the top 5 is going to be within a disadvantage. Ryan Rods stays out, Scornsy stays out, Race Day stays out, Hoxton, and I would expect Cake Thomas to stay out as well. They do. That, I believe, is now the second time we've had an incident involving, I forget if it was Edwin or Hoxton, one of the two. Remember, they had the collision with Dace in the beginning, whoever it was. And unfortunately for Shariah and the Haas team, their day goes from bad to worse rather quickly. I'm going to step aside one more time. Safety car finding its way in this lap. And I know I've been fairly cynical of the safety car usage here today. That one was fairly a no-brainer, if you ask me. Car sliding across the circuit, kind of how it is. My God almighty, I'm dying as it turns out. Unexpected. Haven't been coughing all day. I am now. Ryan Rods starting it out once again. From the lead of the Grand Prix, we're back under green flag conditions here. Scornsy initially has fallen outside of 0.5 of a second. That's a dangerous gap to be playing with there for the McLaren driver. Looks like Race Day is still trying to hold on to within a second of Scornsy ahead. Hoxton doing his best. He's in this battle for the top 3 anyways. GSR Edwin in pursuit of Cake Thomas. It'll be fairly certain that Edwin will be taking the spot, considering he's on the faster tires, albeit only temporarily. Now halfway through the lifespan for the medium tires at this moment in time, at least the game's recommended pit window. Obviously they could go a little bit further, but considering when the game wants them to stop is what I'm going off of here. And it looks like he's going to try the outside of the hairpin corner, trying to go around Cake Thomas. Doesn't find it initially. And behind Matt Rosie, all he can do is sit and watch. He's been relegated down to 7th place, as it seems. Down 3 spots since his initial start. GSR Hoxton, undeniably driver of the day so far. 14 positions gained. Cake Thomas up 8 as well. Very solid day for him at this moment in time. Looks as if Scornsy now outside of a second on Ryan Rods. Race Day outside of a second on Scornsy. Ryan Rods, again, when you get him in clean air, you're absolutely going to be looking at a driver pulling away from the rest of the pack. Well, that was a big slide there for Edwin. He's been able to hold on to it, but he might be under pressure here from Matt Rosie coming out of turn 18. Edwin really had to do some quick thinking there to get the car under control once more, and was able to hold on to it. Looks like Scavney within 0.2 of Dusty Lusky here. A lot of good racing here within the midfield. Obviously, this track, one of those circuits, not really a lot of spots to overtake on. I tell you what, any overtakes that are made on this track, like as we saw with Edwin earlier, whenever the overtakes are made and they are made cleanly, absolute highlight reel finishes for those then. It looks like Shelly the Turtle also wants in on this as well. He's within 0.5 of a second on Scavney, his teammate of Dace, 0.2 of a second behind him. Scavney trying to look to the outside of Dusty Lusky. Looks like ahead was almost a 3-car battle there temporarily. Matt Rosie and Edwin side by side now heading through 200R into the spoon curve, dead even on pace, and it looks as if Edwin still has the outside. Contact made there. Edwin pulls away. Matt Rosie gets left behind and is now having to defend from Dusty Lusky here. Scavney's gone up the inside, and Scavney's overtaken both of them. My goodness, what a move that was from the AlphaTauri driver. 3 cars in 1, and now a huge jumble of mess here as they head into the chicane. Scavney's got, I would say, the preferred line. Matt Rossi has better acceleration up the inside, and the overtake that Scavney made, albeit it was temporary, it was beautiful what he did do. But now, a huge battle here within these 4 cars. Shelly the Turtle watching on. Scavney's going to be looking for the outside here around Matt Rossi. It looks like he's going to get it as well. And Matt Rossi gets turned and right into him. Goes Shelly the Turtle. Retirement for Matt Rossi. And it's surely another safety car, and it is another safety car. Unbelievable stuff here. Matt Rossi had contact, I believe it was with Scavney. Got sent around, unfortunately for Shelly. All he could do was sit and watch as the car was perpendicular across the circuit in front of him. And yet again, Scornsy and Race Day will have another opportunity at Ryan Rods' lead. And with very, very little laps left in this Grand Prix. I tell you what, the Division 1 stewards, I think, might be having their handfuls ahead of them today. It very much looks like it. Safety car on track. Shelly the Turtle back to 16th. I would assume the safety car won't be lasting long. I doubt many drivers would pit at this stage. Considering if you do, it's no guarantee the safety car is going to wait for you. Ryan Rods, does he come in? Ryan Rods is coming in! Scornsy has stayed out! Race Day comes in as well! What on earth? It has to be said. Race Day, I mean, in all fairness to him, was following behind in Ryan Rods' footsteps. But my goodness, we may have just seen. I mean, why? Why did you pit then? Why on earth? You've given Scornsy the lead of the championship outright. Unless more cars come in, Scornsy didn't take the bait. Ryan Rods very much hesitated, made the decision to come in, assuming the drivers behind him would. Race Day did, Scornsy didn't, and now Scornsy has the lead in the Grand Prix. And at this point in time, will definitely be taking the lead of the championship, and he'll be taking it by quite some margin as well. I cannot believe what we have just seen here. Either Ryan Rods and Race Day are third-dimensionally thinking here. Either they're thinking 3 steps ahead of everybody else, including myself. Or we've just seen, perhaps, Ferrari-level strategy work then. It has to be said. I wouldn't assume that the safety car stays out for more than another lap. I think Ryan Rods really... I think he really anticipated a race to the finish on soft tires. Because ideally, that would have been a viable way to go about it. Last safety car, maybe the safety car before that as well, as everyone else behind, outside the top 6 pit, everybody else who remained on the hards, was only from P6 upwards, Ryan Rods being one of them. Ugh. I genuinely have no word. Again. I've absolutely no idea what to think here. Why? Why have they come in? I mean, Scornsy's gonna have to hold off Hoxton. For what, 3 laps? He'll have DRS for, like, one of them. Cade Thomas in position as well. GSR Edwin on mediums. In fact, I believe everybody except Yeah, so this is interesting here. Scornsy, Hoxton, and Cake Thomas, 17-lap-old hards. They've made one stop today, the top 3. Everybody else has made at least 2. Lancey's made 3 and has found himself in 7th. Don't ask me how that happened, but it has. And Edwin, we've seen today, is not afraid to take risks. This is his chance, and I mean, we said this as well. He was 60 points outside the battle for the championship. Or at least outside, back from the leader. Could he perhaps get himself within range tonight? We said he needed a lot of luck. Is this perhaps Edwin's lucky day? Because I don't want to say he's thrown caution to the wind. That would be the wrong way to describe it. It'd be a bit rude of a way to describe it. He's not been afraid to take risks today. Could he find himself on the podium? Could he find himself within reach once more? At least. Do Ryan Rods and Race Day think they have the pace to overtake 13 other cars to get back to the lead of the Grand Prix in 3? I don't know. I don't know. Some questions better left unanswered. Back to green flag racing here. Cake Thomas into the grass off the start. He's going to be overtaken here by Edwin, I think, as they get down to the first corner. Either Cake has gone wide on purpose to build up some speed, or that was a mistake by the Red Bull driver because he's being overtaken by Edwin round the outside. Temporarily, sideways got Edwin. He managed to hold on to the car, albeit with the support of the side pod of Cake Thomas's Red Bull there. The top 3 within 6/10 of a second of each other. And it looks as if now Edwin, all he has to do, as it looks like now he might be facing from behind is Scavney. Looks like Ryan Rod's getting around Dace then. Ryan Rod's has made up 2 spots since the start of the safety car. Or since the end of the safety car, rather. Edwin now, can he try it around the outside of Cake? He's going to get way in behind them. And mind you, this is barring any steward reports. There might be some. For many drivers on the grid today, Edwin temporarily was right behind Cake Thomas just there. Hoxton falling off the back of Scornsy, it has to be said. Outside of 0.8 of a second now, Cake Thomas is battling behind. He's having to defend from Edwin. Falling back almost 1.5 seconds off the back of Hoxton. Cake Thomas looking to bring home a podium for Red Bull here. Edwin looking to bring home a podium for Mercedes as he's going to try it down the outside. Going through the chicane, makes contact with Cake Thomas. And it has to be said, despite the contact, it was a fair overtake in my opinion. He hasn't gone off track. He's only hit Cake Thomas really under braking, and it wasn't enough to really hinder Cake Thomas to the point where you could probably make an argument with a penalty. Like I say, that was a great maneuver from Edwin. And he's entered the top 3, and it looks like he might be closing to Hoxton. Probably too little too late if you ask me, as we have 2 laps to go now. Dusty Lusky trying his best to get to Scavney. It looks like Impossible Bacon might be having a move here at Lancey. Lancey's on the hards. He's been on the hards for 11 laps now. So it looks like when everybody else went to pit for mediums, he was one of the few that put on the hards, himself and Smith Pell in particular. Into the hairpin they go. Impossible Bacon went a little deep into the corner. Ryan Rods, look at him, he's back up to 9th. Race Day, unfortunately for him, is stuck down in 15th. He's not been able to get around Nicky 64. In fact, he's right close to the Alpine now. He's going to try it down to the inside of the spoon curve, but he's not going to be able to get there. Does he try it around the outside? I wouldn't think he would. And unfortunately, it looks like Race Day, this is not going to be a result for him. After starting on pole, he's going to finish 15th. Well, Ryan Rod's really cut the most of the track there. Has to be said. Scavney and Cake Thomas side by side into the chicane. Lots of contact there. Scavney's got the left side. Really trying to take Cake Thomas off of the 4th spot. Nicky 64, 3-second time penalty. No DRS until coming out of the final corner. Side by side once more. Perhaps more contact there. And it looks as if everything's going to be sorted for now. Meanwhile, Hoxton, 0.5 of a second, we got Race Day off at the back. Race Day 2016 falls to 16th. And he's retired from the session I don't want to say on track, but it absolutely looks like he has, as the car is still moving. So now, we've got Hoxid within 0.6 of a second of Scornsy. We've got Edwin within 0.7 of a second of Hoxid. Still some ground here in between the top three, but still half a lap to go, roughly. As they go through the spoon curve now, Scornsy has the lead. And I tell you what, it was much closer going through Dunlop earlier in the lap. And it looks as if Scornsy might just have himself the win here. Unless, can Hoxid or Edwin make a last-ditch effort into the chicane? Hoxid, I think he's too far away to make it happen. Coming into the final chicane now, Scornsy exiting 17 and eventually turn 18. The odds were against him all race long, but he wins the Japanese Grand Prix. Hoxid takes second, and Edwin gets himself back into the championship battle. Look at this! Side by side at the line! Scavney got Cake Thomas by 0.02 of a second. Scavney takes 4th. Cake in 5th. Dusty got 6th. Man, oh man, what an incredible turn of events that was. Well, after it's all said and done, and I'm looking in the Discord now, language more colorful than a rainbow tonight, between, in particular, Lancey and Race Day. Yeah, that's interesting. Scornsy taking the win, Hoxid 2nd, Edwin 3rd, Scavney 4th, Cake in 5th, Dusty 6th, Lancey 7th, Bacon 8th, Ryan Rods rebounds to 9th after the questionable strategy call, 10th is Mitch Burns, 11th Smith Pell, 12th Villeneuve, 13th Dace, 14th Nicky, 15th is Shelley. Race Day did retire on track. We were witness to that. Matt Rosie, Shariah, Got Palmer, and Air Racing Design all did not finish the Grand Prix. And if you thought that was crazy, next week we go to Singapore. Why not? Make it more fun. 3 more rounds left in the championship. It's all to play for. My God. Hotspot, it's been a pleasure being on the call for you this week. We'll see you next time.